Just that suffocating silence that makes your own breathing feel too loud. I checked my phone. Las 3:17 Alto M. That number didn't mean anything to me then. It does now. My bedroom door was open, just like I always leave it. Normally, even in darkness, I could recognize shapes: the coat rack, the corner wall, the door frame. But that night, something was different. At the far end of the hallway, where the darkness should have softened into shadows, it was thicker, deeper, as if the darkness itself had weight. And standing inside it was something that didn't belong. At first, my brain tried to dismiss it. A trick of low light, a visual glitch caused by waking too fast. I stared harder, forcing my eyes to adjust. That was my first mistake. The shape didn't dissolve. It didn't shift. It stood there, tall and narrow, blocking the hallway as if it had always been part of the apartment. Its outline was wrong, not blurry, not sharp, but unfinished, like reality hadn't fully decided what it was supposed to look like. Then came the feeling. That unmistakable sensation of being watched. Not glanced at. Not seized. Watched. My chest tightened, and my breathing became shallow. I tried to move my arm to rub my eyes, convinced that would make it vanish. My body didn't respond. Panic surged through me like ice water. Tried my head. Nothing. But then, the thing at the end of the hallway shifted its weight. Watching. The worst part of paralysis isn't the fear, it's the waiting. Your mind races, trying to regain control, while your body refuses to obey. Seconds stretch into minutes, and every thought spirals into something darker. I focused on my breathing, counting silently. In, out. In, out. And out. The thing at the end of the hallway didn't move, but the longer I stared, the more details my eyes picked up. It wasn't solid. The darkness around it curved inward, like space itself was bending to accommodate its presence. The edges of its shape seemed to ripple slightly, as if it wasn't fully anchored here. And then I noticed something that made my stomach drop, where its head should have been. There was a hollow. Not empty, not blank, just wrong. As if a face was supposed to exist there, but had been erased. I wanted to look away, desperately, but I couldn't. That's when it leaned forward, just enough for me to feel the intent behind it. Curiosity. Interest. Interest. I felt a sharp pressure in my ears, like the moment before altitude sickness kicks in. My heart pounded so violently I thought it might wake the neighbors. Then, slowly, impossibly, slowly, it tilted its head. That single motion shattered my last sense of safety, because it wasn't random. It was a reaction. It had noticed something change in me. I realized, with terrifying clarity, that the moment I focused on it truly saw, it became aware of me in return. The silence grew heavier. Then, without making a sound, it took a step forward. The distance between us shrank. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. Instead, a single thought echoed through my mind. If it gets closer, something irreversible will happen. And that's when I felt it. The paralysis loosened slightly. My fingers twitched. The moment my body began to respond, the thing stopped moving. As if it didn't want to be seen advancing. As if it preferred that, I believe it hadn't moved at all. That realization was far worse than if it had rushed me. Because predators don't rush unless they have to, and whatever this was Patien. My fingers curled weakly into the bedsheet. I could move. Not much, but enough. The thing remained still, frozen at the edge of the hallway. Its presence filled the space, pressing against my senses like static electricity. I swallowed hard, my throat painfully dry. I shouldn't have spoken. Every instinct screamed at me not to. But fear makes people do stupid things. "Hello? Primera?" whispered. The sound felt wrong the moment it left my mouth. Too loud. Too intrusive. The thing reacted instantly. Its head snapped upright. And suddenly, the pressure in the room changed. I didn't hear a sound with my ears. I heard it inside my head. Not a voice. A thought that wasn't mine. "You're awake." My vision blurred as terror surged through me. I shook my head weakly, trying to deny it, trying to convince myself this was still a dream. Another thought pressed into my mind, colder than the first. You weren't supposed to be. The hallway light flickered. Once. Twice. The thing took another step. Closer now. Close enough that I could sense its size, not hostile, but elongated in a way that made no anatomical sense. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying it would disappear when I opened them. It didn't. Instead, I noticed something new. The hallway behind it didn't look the same anymore. The walls seemed longer, stretched, like the space itself was being distorted. That's when I understood the rule I had broken. I had acknowledged it. I had interacted, and by doing so, I had invited it further in. If you're enjoying this story so far, and I know enjoy ice and tea, the right word, take a moment right now to subscribe to the channel, because what comes next is the part most people don't believe until it happens to them. The thing raised one arm, its limb bent the wrong way, jointless and fluid. Another thought pushed into my mind. You saw me. My breathing turned shallow, rapid. Now I can finish crossing. The temperature dropped so suddenly my skin prickled. I felt exposed, vulnerable, like the walls themselves had turned against me. The thing moved again, slow, deliberate steps that made no sound. Each time it advanced, the hallway behind it seemed to stretch further, as if distance no longer worked the way it should. I tried to sit up. My muscles screamed in protest, but they obeyed. The thing stopped. Again. It didn't like that. I realized then that it was bound by something, some rule or condition I didn't understand. It could approach, but only while I remained still. Awareness. That was the price. I forced myself to keep moving, my back lifted from the mattress, my vision swimming. The thing's presence pressed harder, like invisible hands pushing against my chest. The hallway lights shattered, not flickered, shattered. Darkness flooded the space, swallowing everything except the shape of the thing itself. And for the first time, I saw inside it. It wasn't hollow, it was layered. Shapes within shapes, like silhouettes stacked inside one another, all facing outward. Watching, waiting. I slipped off the bed, my legs barely holding me up. The thing recoiled slightly. Good. That meant I still had some control. Then my phone vibrated. The sudden sound nearly made me collapse. Pre-metal looked down. A notification. Voice memo recording in progress. I hadn't touched my phone. The thing reacted violently. The pressure in my head spiked, and the thought slammed into my mind with rage behind it. Stop. The recording timer kept counting. 0:12, 0:30, and 0:14. The thing lunged. Not forward. Sideways, reality folded. And suddenly, it wasn't at the end of the hallway anymore. It was beside my bedroom door. I don't remember screaming. I remember falling. The floor felt impossibly far away, like gravity had weakened. The thing loomed over me, its form towering, distorted, flickering at the edges like a corrupted image. Another thought filled my mind-comer now. Satisfied. I don't need you to come with me. That's when I understood. It wasn't after my body. It was after my awareness. My attention, my certainty that it existed. The recording on my phone continued. The thing leaned closer, and the air vibrated. "You'll remember me." The pressure vanished all at once. I gasped, air rushing back into my lungs. The thing stepped backward. The hallway snapped back to normal. Walls straightened, space corrected itself, and then it was gone. I lay there on the floor, shaking, sobbing, waiting for it to come back. It didn't. Morning light eventually filled the apartment, gentle and harmless. Everything looked normal, too normal. I convinced myself it was a nightmare, sleep paralysis mixed with stress, until I checked my phone. The voice memo was there. 2 minutes long. I pressed play. Static. My breathing, and then my voice, whispering words I didn't remember saying. "I see you." A pause. Then another voice. Not human, not distorted, clear. I don't sleep with my door open anymore. I don't wake up at 3:17 a.m. by accident, and I never, ever look down my hallway when I wake up in the dark. Because sometimes I feel it again. That pressure, that awareness, like something waiting for me to notice it first. The voice memo is still on my phone. I haven't deleted it. I'm afraid of what that would mean. If you're listening to this right now and you've ever felt watched in the dark, don't dismiss it too quickly. Some things don't need doors. They just need acknowledgement. And once you give it, it knows how to find you again. So if you don't want to miss what happens next, subscribe to the channel. Because this wasn't the last time it stood at the end of my hallway. It's just the first time. Primera survived.